man who has served this constituency for 25 years. He is a stalwart in the Labour Party Parliament. He's a man with character, a man who firmly believes in doing right, and a man who's prepared to speak his mind no matter what. He is the man that set up the Fair Trading Commission of Barbados, that has done an excellent job in making sure that BNTCL sale is handled the right way. We attribute the success of that Fair Trading Commission to none other than Ronald Toppin. Toppin has been working in this constituency. He's a master at politics. I have certainly learned a lot from him. He taught us how to canvass correctly. He's a man that is constantly visible in his constituency, and he works tirelessly for the people of this constituency. St. Michael North, you are in good hands. St. Michael North, you are in perfect hands with Ronald Toppin. Let us welcome him to the podium, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald Toppin.
St. Michael North Posse. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening to KFL and all the surrounding areas. You know, just under 31 years ago, I started the journey in this constituency. And that journey started right here in KFL in September 1987, when a man by the name of Diston Howell, still alive today and here at this gathering, took me to the first house I went to in this constituency, the house of a lady by the name of Gloria Anderson, who lives just down there in Bonnier Lane. And that really was the launch of my career in this constituency. Go, Gloria. Go. But Diston really was a St. Michael Central man. And he turned me over to a man by the name of Mr. Dudley Eswick, also of KFL. He took me in hand and really taught me all I was to learn about politics, and the rest is history. And I therefore stand before you tonight a proud man, a man at peace with myself, knowing that I have been able to do what I was entrusted to do. The journey that I went on was not always smooth. And it took me 7 years to win this seat. During those 7 years, I actually suffered an electoral defeat at the polls. But that didn't stop me. And it took me over these 7 years to work with every single community group, every club, every sporting organization, the schools, the churches, and knocking on doors 4 or 5 times every single week to win this seat. So I have no difficulty in saying that I have fulfilled the mandate that I was entrusted with. Now, I'm not saying that Philip Graves before me did not do some work in this constituency, because he did. But in 1994, when I won the seat, there were a lot of things that still had to be done. And I was a bit surprised, given the fact that Philip Graves had been a deputy prime minister, and deputy prime minister carries a lot of weight. But I set about doing what I had to do. One of the first things I had to tackle was the infrastructure. Tonight I have to make a slightly different speech from those who went before me because they could talk on a lot of national issues, and I'm going to get to some of those too. But I got to talk a bit first about things that relate to this constituency, because there are some people who need to know things that have been done so that they can make a realistic assessment of me going forward. But the first thing I had to tackle was the infrastructure in this constituency, because it was in very, very bad shape. The Grisettes Primary School had not been repaired or refurbished for 25 years when I became the MP in 1994. And within 6 months, I got Mayor Morley to do a complete refurbishment of the Grisettes Primary School. I also paved, not repaved, they were never paved before, the schoolyards of both the Grisettes Primary School and the Eden Lodge Primary School that were causing a lot of discomfort, particularly among children with asthma, and I got both of those roads paved as well. When it comes to the roads in this constituency, there were many tracks that should have been roads, and there were many roads that were in very, very bad condition. So I managed to get some 8 roads put in across Cavehill alone. 8 new roads across Cavehill, and 1 in Phillips Road. Now, there's more work to be done in Phillips Road, admittedly, but there's a road as well to go in there in the back part, and I've already written the Minister of Transport about that in particular. So I'm expecting that hopefully we can get some results pretty shortly, if the Minister responds. But in any case, he won't be Minister for much longer, and when the Barbados Labour Party becomes the government very shortly, we will be able to work on that. Now I'm going to deal with the road in Well Gap separately a bit later on, so bear with me. My next task was to deal with public transportation. And within my first 2 terms as a representative for this constituency, I was able to get transport board buses running through this entire constituency, whereas before, the residents here were completely dependent on the mercy of ZRs and minibus drivers. Now, in the last few years, the quality of service provided by the Transport Board has deteriorated, and you have now to be waiting for some 4 hours to catch a bus, but at least I did my part. When it comes to sports and the sporting facilities in this constituency, I have sponsored every single team that ever represented any community or district in this constituency. And I even, one year, sponsored a girls' cricket team and a girls' cricket tournament. I haven't seen Christopher Reese here tonight, but I'm sure he's here. Together, we actually also formed a Cavehill volleyball team called Cavehill Uprising. Jeffrey, you remember the Cavehill Uprising? It was headquartered, it held its meetings and was headquartered at my constituency office not far from here. In terms of sporting facilities, I got a playing field and a hard court with lights in Reservoir Road, Lodge Hill, Tom, you know that. And I managed to get new lights on playing fields or hard courts in Cavehill, Grisettes, and Eden Lodge. There was to have been a pavilion built in Reservoir Road in Lodge Hill. There were plans for that before we lost the government in 2008. When the Democratic Labour Party came into government, they threw those plans out through the window. But that will be put back on the table under a Barbados Labour Party government. And I know that the lights here in Cavehill on this pasture need some work. Quite frankly, I think that they need changing. I got them installed when I was minister responsible for science, and they're not really the most modern lights, I concede. I've been trying my best to ask the Sports Council to change them and put new lights, but they keep saying that there's no money. When you ask them, well, at least to come and refocus them or fix them, it takes forever to get them to come. But again, I intend to do my best to ensure that we get, if not new lights, to get these lights properly functional. Those are just some of the things that I've done. And I haven't mentioned even the work done in relation to drainage, which of course is an ongoing issue. My work in relation to the schools, and when it comes to their graduations, the 11+ exams, the number of jobs I got for people in this constituency. I haven't mentioned the street lights. They got installed all across the constituency, street names, road markings, sidewalks, curbs. those things that I really haven't mentioned, but the one thing that I really want to mention, which I think really was my crowning glory in this constituency, is that, and I feel very, very proud about this, that I was able to secure over the term of my stewardship over 800 scholarships or sponsorships for constituents to pursue academic studies at the O-Level Institute and other areas of other institutions of learning, and also to pursue other skills and trades as well, whether it was cosmetology, mechanics, or whatever, in both formal and informal institutions of learning. And to supplement that, I have written over 2,000 letters of recommendations for people applying for jobs. I've managed to arrange approximately 1,000 interviews for people who had applied for jobs. And I sat with either individually or in groups with around 750 people to give them advice as to how to prepare for and participate in job interviews. And I think really that that was my crowning glory. So I've done a lot, if I may say so myself, and I have no regrets whatsoever about getting involved in politics. And the desire to serve, the desire to make a difference in people's lives, that desire has to come from within you. It really must come from within. I recently heard my opponent say, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, that she got a call from somebody, I think it was the Prime Minister, who told her that he wanted her to go and run in St. Michael North, and she felt honored, and she decided to go and run in St. Michael North. That is not how it works. Nobody can drag you into service. The desire and the willingness to serve has to come from within you, deep within you. It must come from within. And I felt the feeling from within. And that is what drove me to come forward and offer myself to serve this constituency for the last 23, 24 years. Now, but what is even stranger about how my opponent was chosen in this race, in this constituency, is the fact that there were two other men, two KFL men, who were also interested in running for the Democratic Labour Party. One named Emerson Herbert, a taxi owner, and in the audience here tonight. Apparently he plans to support me now. And one called Les Lloyd Bishop, a small contractor. So he had a taxi owner and a small contractor, both from KFL, and both wanting to be the candidate for the Democratic Labour Party. Now, I'm not really here to plead any case for them, because the truth is, if they had run against me, they would have got some licks too. But in all fairness to them, they had both canvassed this constituency thoroughly. They really, really had. And they were awaiting word from the Democratic Labour Party as to who would run. And at the Democratic Labour Party's National Council meeting to choose a candidate, do you know what the Democratic Labour Party's National Council said? They said that neither one of them was suitable because they have no substance. That is what they said. They said they had not enough substance to be a Democratic Labour Party candidate. And substance in that context meant financial substance. That's what they meant. They had no finance. Two KFL men want to run for the DLP and are told you can't run because you don't have the financial substance. And there's a party that says that it recognizes the worth of ordinary people in this country. And instead of choosing either one of the two of them, they went for someone who campaigns on the basis of getting a call and being the CEO of NICE. CEO of NICE. Now, you know, when you hear the term transport board, you automatically think of buses running. When you hear Sanitation Service Authority, you think of an organization that collects garbage. When you hear about the Barbados Water Authority, you think of water supply. When you hear about NICE, what exactly comes to your mind? Nothing whatsoever. You don't even know what that organization has done or contributed at all to the advancement or development of Barbados. You just don't know. NICE has really remained just a very obscure organization, which incidentally, the Democratic Labour Party itself, if re-elected, the Democratic Labour Party is planning to dismantle the same NICE as part of the merger of a number of statutory corporations. So they're going to merge NICE out of existence somewhere along the line. So even the Democratic Labour Party recognizes that NICE is no commendation. At most, NICE is a glorified training center, of which there are many, and there's nothing to specially commend NICE to anybody. So there's no point in holding up NICE and saying, well, I am the CEO of NICE, and therefore you should support me. I have some record of achievement. But I can tell you this, I can hold up my record of achievement as a minister of government. I can hold up my record of achievement as a Minister of Commerce, Consumer Affairs, and Business Development, and I can tell you a number of things. I can tell you, and sometimes you go to blow your own trumpet, if not, nobody's going to blow it for you. I can tell you that I established the Fair Trading Commission, you heard that from Indar just now. I took the Utilities Regulation Act to Parliament. I took the Consumer Protection Act to Parliament. I took the Consumer Guarantees Act to Parliament, and that allowed you a lot of rights you never had before against unscrupulous merchants and suppliers when they sold you things, the rights you never had before. I took the Fair Competition Act to Parliament. I took the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act to Parliament. I took the Small Business Development Act to Parliament. I took the Electronic Transactions Act to Parliament. I established the Department of Commerce and Consumer Affairs. I also established the Small Claims Tribunal and the Office of Public Counsel, and what that meant was that any time you bought an item of $10,000 or less value, or got a service, and the issue was there was no value of more than $10,000, and there was any issue with it, you were able, and you still are able, to go to the Consumer Claims Tribunal, file your case if you're getting no satisfaction from the supplier or the merchant, and you have a lawyer free of cost that I put in place there for you to represent you and argue your case. And even if you lose your case, you don't have to pay a cent at all. Now, if you go into court normally and you lose a case, you hear you got to pay a cost for the other side. Not so with the Consumer Claims Tribunal. You feel you have been aggrieved, you're getting no satisfaction from the supplier or the merchant, you go to the Consumer Claims Tribunal, you file, you pay nothing to file, you pay nothing for the lawyer, you pay nothing for your day in court, win or lose. That is a nice record. That is the record that I am holding up. When I had responsibility for international transport, I bought Virgin Atlantic, the same Virgin Atlantic you hear about flying about. I am who bought that airline to Barbados. I brought Air Jamaica to this country, but it collapsed, of course, under the Democratic Labour Party. I concluded air services agreements with Suriname, Germany, Switzerland, United Kingdom. I was part of the regional team that negotiated the multilateral air services agreement. I successfully prevented Barbados from being put in Category 3 status by the Americans, which is the lowest category you can be put in terms of your aviation. That, again, is a nice record that I can hold up. But I can tell you what is not nice. I can tell you the way that the people in KFL, especially the people in Well-Yap, have been treated by this government in relation to that road. Now, Well-Yap was never a really perfect road. I'm not going to tell you that. But come 2008, after the rains of 2008 in September, October, that road in Well-Yap became ridiculously bad. And I went to John Boyce, then Minister of Public Works. in the lunch, in the members' room in Parliament one day, one Tuesday. And I said, John, you know, the road in Well Gap is now very, very, very bad. It just had some rains. I said, I know that you won't have any money for this financial year because it only just happened, but can you put in some money in the next financial year? You know, in response to that, what John Boyce tell me? He tell me, but you understand that the government changed? I said the government changed, but the people in change is still the same people. After we rallied each other for a little while, he then told me, well, listen, when the Barbados Labour Party gets back in power, you could fix it. And to this day, they will not fix it. And you know, I took the time to write a letter to Michael Ashley, and he is really a sleazebag. He is really, really sleazy. You know, but he thought he had me tricked. Because when I sent this letter, it wasn't sent by registered post, mistake on my part, but it was hand-delivered by my secretary, who made a note of when she delivered it. And as an extra precaution, I copied it to the residents of Careful. You know, if I had not done that, Michael Ashley would have denied that he ever received the letter. He is such a lousy fella. He really, really is. Lousy fella. Really is. And in this letter that I wrote, I outlined the facts about the condition of the road. And I mentioned, having stated the conditions, I said there's no point in paving the road here and occasionally and patching here and there. This calls for complete redoing. I said, this is entirely unsatisfactory, and the residents of Careful and the surrounding areas deserve better. I am now therefore calling upon you to completely and immediately restore this road to a condition which would facilitate the safe and comfortable use of it by motorists and pedestrians alike. Whatever structural work needs to be done to this road to achieve this objective simply has to be done. And I concluded by saying I look forward to your prompt attention to this matter. To this day, Michael Ashley has not lifted a finger to do anything. And to make it worse, the residents of Well Gap and Careful had to endure the indignity of seeing a trench dug from all up in Lodge Hill, right through Careful, through Well Gap, down St. Stephen's Hill, down to Barbados Light and Power, to replace existing natural gas mains for the Barbados Light and Power, when they did nothing at all to assist the residents at the same time in Careful with any natural gas, and took forever to cover back the trench. Well, I am here to tell you tonight, on the authority of the leader of this party, that when the Barbados Labour Party becomes the government of this country, we are going to ensure that a proper road is put in Well Gap. There'll be no more ifing and butting about that. But that attitude about John Boyce telling me about the government change and all that is not peculiar to Public Works, because when I had called National Housing Corporation again in 2008, 2009 about a house for somebody, I was told by National Housing, Mr. Toppin, it don't make any sense you waste your time calling here asking about a house for somebody from your constituency. I said, why? I mean, them people too, in my constituency, they got urgent cases like anywhere else. And the person at National Housing told me, Mr. Toppin, we have a list of names. And the names that you are giving me are not on this list. And no names that you give me are going to get on this list. You see, I can't say it's a problem because it's a good thing, but St. Michael North is a red constituency. It is a red constituency. And Careful is the reddest part of the red. So you have to ensure now this time that you not only go and vote, but that you get people all over Barbados to vote to ensure that we get a Barbados Labour Party government again, so that people like the residents of Careful, who have been paying a serious price of victimization by this government, can once again rise above it all and stand tall in the face of any government, the Barbados Labour Party, that will be the government. What also was not nice is that a number of houses were built up there in Ely Heights, by the Barbados Labour Party before 2008 general elections, and the Democratic Labour Party came in before allocations were made for the residents, for people to move into the houses, and they had an official opening and did not even have the manners to invite me as the parliamentary representative to the opening of the units. But I got news for them. You know, one of my slogans in politics is never leave a stone unturned. Tyrone, you remember my slogan with that? Never ever leave a stone unturned. Well, all the people that they thought they put up there that were going to vote against the Barbados Labour Party are now supporters of the same Barbados Labour Party. This very pavilion right here, this is not nice either. Gandhi, the caretaker, retired 2-3 years ago, and National Housing Government would not appoint anybody at all in his place. This pavilion has no caretaker. Everything that you want to do now, you have to get permission for from the Sports Council. So the fellas can't even decide the evening to want to play a game of dominoes or a set of dominoes and go in there because it closed. You would have to phone the Sports Council and get permission just to do that. That is not very nice. The fact that people have to wait some 4 hours now for buses, as I said earlier, even school children trying to get home after school, that is not nice. The fact that you have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to get your garbage picked up, that is not nice. The fact that tenants in the National Housing Corporation units might only be getting title deeds to the unit now that units know that elections are near and they don't even know what will happen in relation to the wells and the electrical wiring inside the units. That is also not nice. The fact that you have to drive on the roads you have in Barbados in the condition that they are after paying such hefty road taxes, that is not nice. The fact that parents have to send paper to school, if photocopies are to be made of anything, that is not nice because the schools don't have any paper. The fact that you have to take toilet paper to the hospital because the hospital has no toilet paper, that is not nice. Sewage on the South Coast that you got to walk in or drive through or get splashed up with, that is not nice. And you know, with all these problems, the Democratic Labour Party now has a technique of joining with us in criticizing the government about these conditions. As if when they do that, they don't realize that they're criticizing the very government that they're a part of. My opponent in this constituency is already a boss at that. She is complaining that the Eden Lodge Community Center is not open enough, but it's her government that's supposed to open it. Her government. She's saying that there are no programs and she got to get programs in there. Now, I happen to know, she may not know because she now come, there are a few programs that have been run in the Eden Lodge Community Center. But even if it were true that there were none, but that is her government again that she got to get after, not me nor anybody else. It is her government. And, you know, I'm surprised to hear about programs not being run because there is something called the Constituency Council. Each constituency has a Constituency Council, and it is funded by government, and it's supposed to be dealing with programs. So I do not know how it could be. You can't be serious. They are funded by the government, and therefore, really and truly, her call is not really with me, but with her own government. They tell me I have to come down, but I just want to say that with your help, just let me make one more point, please. And it's this. Sir? Okay, apparently they've given me another 10 minutes, I hope. Anyhow, I want you all to be aware of a very, very serious threat to democracy in this country at this time. And it's this. For the first time that I'm aware of in our history, correct me if I'm wrong. And if it happened before, it was wrong then too. But the life of Parliament has ended. It will end in law tomorrow. But it ended, in fact, on Friday, when John Boyce said that Parliament is now to be adjourned sine die. Parliament has adjourned, and Barbadians do not know when elections will be held. And this is a very serious thing. If Ronald Stewart was pathetic before, he's now a disgrace. He really, really is. Because it's a serious, from after tomorrow, Cabinet is going to continue to function. All the ministers are going to continue to function with full power. And there's going to be no Parliament to serve as any check and balance on anything that they do. So you're going to have a man like Chris Sinclair who's going to use the duties, exemptions, and so on Act to grant a whole set of waivers to people, which he can do by law perfectly legally. And we are not going to know what is going on. He can grant waivers to his friends. The law will permit him to do it. And we are not even going to know it's happening. And I do not trust Chris Sinclair with that sort of power. I do not trust him with it. And I don't trust him to tell us either if he is in fact exercising any such powers. Because Chris Sinclair cannot tell the truth. He is a compulsive liar and he cannot help himself. In 2010, November, he said he raised VAT from 15% to 17.5% and said it was a temporary measure for 18 months. It is now 8 years. He told the CLICO policyholders that I'm rushing because of the pressure in me. He told the CLICO policyholders they were going to get their monies by June 2010. This is now 2018. Has anybody gotten their money? He gave at least 13 assurances in relation to the startup date for 4 seasons. It has not yet restarted. You know, if Chris Sinclair had to really take an oath, there's only one oath that Chris Sinclair could take in a court. He would say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, at this stage we have our party leader,